How we doing, people? Yeah, this is going to be a bit different. This is going to be a bit rogue. I need to talk about Aston Villa. I have to. Like, why am I bothering with this channel if I'm not talking about games like this? I had to go to bed early last night because I'm an old man. But I know I needed to talk about this game this morning, and I need to talk about how far Aston Villa have come, and I need to talk about the squad building because that game, this is it, right? Like, we were talking about the Champions League. Yes, it's getting to the final. And this Aston Villa team can go as far as they want. Like, seriously, they can go as far as they want. But it's actually about these big nights as well. Newcastle United fans, if any are watching this right now, they will attest to the fact that it is about the journey and then reaching these new heights. And for Aston Villa to think about where they were, I saw it on Twitter. It's either like 6 years ago or 4 years ago. Glenn Whelan was scoring a penalty to keep Steve Bruce in a job. And, I mean, even just since Unai Emery's come through the door, you know, that was a team in 17th. They just got pumped 3-0 by an okay Fulham side. And now they are waking up in the glow of this victory against Bayern Munich. Now, I think there's obviously a lot to be said in terms of, if you want to spin it somehow, some negative way against Aston Villa kind of deserving the victory, I think you're struggling because actually I think, yes, Emi Martinez had a huge part to play in this game and he was phenomenal. He was world class, but that is a world class team that you're up against. And so they are going to have the ball. And I wanted to focus on the squad building and specific players within this as well, because that then comes back to the manager. Unai Emery, in so many ways, right? First of all, him and Monchi and the whole hierarchy at Aston Villa in terms of spending money, yes, but having an academy that they can use in the biggest games. Jacob Ramsey, Morgan Rogers, sorry, not Morgan Rogers, but Jaden Philogene Bidace. I'm just going to call him Philogene, or Jaden on the back of his shirt. Like, to have those players playing in these enormous games and to be able to kind of control, to have a threat whilst being able to control the opposition who've got the ball, let's be honest, who had most of the attacking momentum in the game. But that is the difference, isn't it? The difference between a team that is just curling up into a ball and holding on and a team that is waiting to pounce. And I think that's what I saw in this game. And when we're talking about squad building, kind of where you start and where you go, that is in a constant state of flux. And Villa fans have, you know, the other thing that I think Villa fans will probably appreciate when I'm talking about this is that despite being this huge club, enormous club, you've only got to go to the stadium. It's majestic, right? You know, this is a team that's been in the doldrums. There's a team that's had sort of come down the league, work your way back up, and is now currently punching, or what feels like punching. And that feels like a negative, but I think it's always, that's why I wanted to do this video. So, like, I think that feeling of punching up, that's okay. Like, I think bask in that glory of that. Bask in that underdog status, taking on the likes of Bayern Munich, 6 times winners, and beating them at home because you wanted it maybe a little bit more, but also you had a team that was really well drilled. You had a team that had a constant threat. And you had players that could step up, players that felt valued. That is another really underestimated thing, I think, that Unai Emery has not probably been given credit enough for. And actually the experiences that he's had previously, I think, have played a big part in this. And I think John Duran and the use of John Duran is just, look, you need a bit of luck in all of these things. But the fact that he's utterly on fire right now, that is because, although he, you know, probably wanted to go, right? The fact that he's staying, Ollie Watkins and John Duran are both on it. And the reason they're both on it is because they both know what's happening. Ollie Watkins is going to start, generally, until he needs a rest. He's going to work hard, make life incredibly difficult for the opposition. And then for the last 30 minutes, John Duran knows he's coming on to, you know, affect the game, to be that match winner. And he's been that match winner regularly. Like, his record is insane right now. And the way that he's playing is absolutely phenomenal as well. But it takes a village, right? It takes a village to have these big moments. Now, will Villa be able to get into the top 8? That's the dream for them. I think they absolutely can do that because they're so well put together as a team. I think individually there are maybe some players in there that if they're not in as good a team as Unai Emery. And I think we're at that moment of the season where you're looking at teams and thinking, how much of a difference does a manager make? And Unai Emery and the squad building again is such a big part of this in terms of players coming in, coming out. If for Jane Philogene to come in and play this game, and I saw him last year for Hull. He actually got injured in that game, and thank God he did, because he was absolutely destroying us. For him to step into a game like this, I mean, he would have been a bit of a, deer caught in the headlights. But especially when you look at the opposition there. And what I wanted to do was first of all, as I say, like youngsters, right? In Jacob Ramsey, Morgan Rogers, and Jadon. Onana, a new signing. Tielemans, who I thought was, actually, he's been given quite a bad score there. I thought he was great. And the positivity of which they played when they had the ball, but also the confidence they had to not have the ball, it just all keeps coming back to the manager. But the little things, as much as the structure, it's about making those players feel like they know what they're going to do and feel confident in doing it. Esri Konsa, like the development of him as a player over the last few years has been absolutely phenomenal, to the point that he looks completely at home in this game. Pau Torres is one of the most underrated centre-backs, I think, in Europe, actually, because no one really talks about him, and he's absolutely amazing. Obviously scored that goal, gets chalked off for offside, brutal. And Martinez, like almost a great kind of sort of, a microcosm, poster boy of Aston Villa. A guy that the top teams didn't want. And you have to kind of go a different route. And you have to kind of maybe bounce about a little bit. And then when you do get that opportunity, it's seeing what others don't seem to see. That is what Aston Villa, in terms of their recruitment, are able to do. Like, I mean, a lot of people sort of circling around Onana. No one got the job done. No one got it over the line. Youri Tielemans, similar kind of thing. I mean, a few people kind of after him. Why has he chosen Aston Villa? He's chosen Aston Villa probably because they wanted him more than anyone else, because they see things in him that others don't. A lot of players that are just reaching new heights. And again, when we come back to squad building, the fact you can bring in those three as your forward line up against Michael Olise. We've done a video on Michael Olise. He is a world-class player. Kingsley Coman has scored a winner in a Champions League final. Harry Kane is a joke. Harry Kane is a joke. And again, you need moments. You need Martinez to make that save at the end. Serge Gnabry, incredible player. Joshua Kimmich, one of the best midfielders of a generation. Manuel Neuer, Alphonso Davies, who Real Madrid, linked with whatever, but ultimately one of the best left-backs in the world. Now, the two centre-backs had a bit of a torrid time, but they are still elite centre-backs. And Ollie Watkins and then John Duran made a massive difference. But the bench, look at the bench here. John Duran, Ross Barkley, a player, again, who I think Aston Villa have seen the value in him, but at the same time, he comes on 60 minutes, most games, has a valuable role to play. Ian Maatson, not wanted by Chelsea or needed the money from Chelsea, whatever that may be. Leon Bailey as well, to not even start this game, but to come on, obviously needed pretty early with Ramsey getting injured. He's been great as well, but everyone's kind of dropped in and out throughout, and I think that gets completely forgotten when it comes to Aston Villa. Up against these players that come on. Sane, Musiala, who I thought they missed for that cutting edge. Polina, big summer signing. Goretzka, been around the block, of course. Matistel, one of the most exciting young players as well. And Aston Villa held it together. And when you look at the rest of that squad for Aston Villa, there's not an outrageous amount of numbers there. I did want to say, I think Ollie Watkins deserves some flowers here, because if you go back and watch that goal, what you will see is the fact that there's a switching off that happens from Upamecano, maybe Manuel Neuer to an extent, a tiny bit. But that moment of switching off that gives John Duran that yard, to be able to get that yard, to get that looped cross shot happening, that I don't think that happens if you haven't got Ollie Watkins making his life a bit of a misery throughout the game. So I think that's one thing that Emery will have to be kind of careful with. And it's one of those ones where actually I think it does balance out, because you've got a dilemma here where John Duran is scoring goals all the time, but he's scoring goals when the game is that little bit more open. And I think someone as kind of clinical as he is being at the moment, with the confidence that he has right now, amongst tired bodies, he is just lethal right now. But I guess it balances itself out because you've got Ollie Watkins, who's been able to he gets 60 minutes or whatever it might be. And John Duran's getting less minutes, but more open minutes, if that makes sense. But I guess they just need to I think Ollie Watkins' numbers won't be as good this year. I mean, saying that, we've got 60, still getting 60 minutes. But yeah, Emi Martinez, absolute world class at the back. I think you'd always choose him. I think he's probably the best goalkeeper in the world right now. People won't want to hear that. They want to go for theirs, David Raya, whoever it may be. I think it is him. For every different element that he provides, the confidence that he provides, can he change his haircut? I think he can. And I'm not sure the line should be there. But that's just my opinion on it. But some huge saves that he makes, even ones that were kind of called offside afterwards. But back to Unai Emery. I think he is the jewel in the crown. For a rise with Aston Villa that is honestly like nothing we've seen for a while here. And it's kind of, I think when there's different types of football teams, right? You've got your Brentfords, your Brightons. Brightons are kind of turning into an Aston Villa now, where actually, no, you've got a bit of money here. You just need to be able to spend it wisely. But if you can spend it wisely and then have the right kind of environment there of players that are just clearly very good pros, that listen, are diligent, their baseline is a 6.5 out of 10. If you've got enough of those quality players and then that little bit of stardust, and stardust I'm talking about within the team, but also with Unai Emery, establishing plans, allowing the team to be comfortable out of possession, to be comfortable with that incredibly high line at times, to be comfortable on the ball, and then you've got something really, really special. Aston Villa could go really deep in this Champions League. Obviously, it needs a bit of luck here and there, but with Unai Emery, they've got a real chance. And last night was something really, really special. So I thought it was a miss for me to not do a quick video with my thoughts on it. Aston Villa fans, I want to hear from you in the comments. Get in there now. This is a great time to be an Aston Villa fan. And that's before we even talk about the start in the league, which should have been affected by all of this, but hasn't been. It's a tight-knit, high-quality squad with players that have come through and also players that have made their name at Aston Villa and therefore love the club so much. And those little things make a massive, massive difference. And I think you're seeing that when you look at Villa and when you're looking at different teams around the Premier League right now. Congratulations to Aston Villa fans. Wanted to give you your flowers. What a manager you've got, what a squad you've got, what a team you've got. Congratulations.